So, hello and welcome to Insight Leadership. I'm Heather, and today I'm here with one of my lovely colleagues and brothers in our collective, Jem. Um, we've been recording this series of videos to try and introduce ourselves, to give you a feel for the collective, so you can get a sense of who we are and what we bring as a group. So, Jem, yeah, it's really lovely to be with you here and recording this little video.
Yeah, likewise, Heather. Yeah.
Thank you for being here and thank you for being part of our beautiful, beautiful collective. Um, so I know a little bit about your journey, but not a lot, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more. I
Mm.
know that you started off in practicing law, and that was your first career. And then you found your way to Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings and committed to the pathway of serving as a monastic.
Mm.
And I think if I'm right, you were a monastic for 18 years.
Mm.
And then 9 of those you served as the abbot, so the leader of Deer Park Monastery in California. So a beautiful commitment to the path. And now we have the honor of you joining us here in Insight Leadership. So I'd love to hear more about that journey
Mm.
of how you arrived on the path and what's brought you to be here in this moment with Insight Leadership.
Great. Thanks, Heather. Yeah, sometimes I express it as if I'm in my third life right now, and I'm calling myself Gem to also kind of differentiate the different timelines or lives in one. Sometimes people ask, how come from law to being a Buddhist monk? It seemed like the biggest shift you can make somehow. But for me, somehow there has been a red thread throughout my life. It's about more becoming who I've already been, who I was from the beginning, and what is most important and what I value in my life, and how can I, in a way, contribute to what is good and true and beautiful. That's what I've been doing all these years in my life as a monk, and that continues. But I early on in life got this idea that I want to study law, I want to be a lawyer for all kinds of different ideas and reasons. Partly because of earning money, part of prestige, part of from background, all my uh, grandfather, grandmother lineage was working class, and my grandmother said, "You're so good at listening. You would be a great lawyer." So, like that was one like spur. Okay, I'm doing it for the collective lineage somehow. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but afterwards I realized I've realized this not maybe because that was my highest dream, but because it was something somehow collective transformation or growth that wanted to happen. And but I felt confused a little bit. The confrontation or the wanting to be right, the not wanting to understand, not wanting to get along that I often encounter. It just felt so saddening. Already from a young age, I was kind of confused and looking around, like, why is people treating each other so badly, like even on purpose? So for me, that has been one aspect of this red thread. We're in this together. So like, can't we be kind and nice to each other? And life is challenging as it is. We don't have to make it more difficult on each other. And so I think that is like of I haven't found my calling, if you will. I haven't found this. I learned so much through those 9 years of law school and practicing that I needed to move on. I've been practicing meditation for several years, and I saw that helped me. And yeah, a journey starts with a step, and then the new openings happen. And I ventured to Ireland hiking. I ventured to India and meditated and came in contact with Buddhism and Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching. And when I read Thich Nhat Hanh's books, I feel like, wow, this is so home. I feel like this resonates something in me. It's so natural. It's so deeply human and insightful. It's so connected with people, with nature. So as I was arriving in Plum Village, I felt more and more like the way I want to live is what's happening here, and it's also contributing to the world. At that point in time, the last kind of hurdle was like, can I give myself the gift of actually being in this wholesome, beautiful, supportive environment? And then it was like, yeah, I could do that because I see that this place, a place of refuge, of peace, of happiness, of caring for suffering, is like so relished by people from all kinds of places on earth, all kinds of professionals and leaders, and like from all strands of life. And now when I left, I also know the community continues. I can also be here in a way of sharing my experience, my insights, my love with people in Sweden, where I'm originally from, and contributing in different ways. So a good friend and former brother connected me to Insight Leadership, and it felt like, yeah, it's also a time to come together um, to to join in collectives so that we can actually benefit from each other's insights, experience. So together we're stronger than we are on our own. I think that's one experience of living in community too that's been so precious. I want to also help to bring that to business and to leaders. Like, how can we establish that sense of relationship with each other? So it's not just about like elbowing and getting ahead, because that won't give us any lasting satisfaction. And we're not actually, yeah, that's not in our nature to behave like that.
Mm, mm. I'm so touched, Jem, as you talk about your very early experience of looking at human behavior and going, why can't we be kinder to each other? And how that also translates into what you see now in terms of what we can offer in the business world. And I'm curious because you talked about arriving in Thich Nhat Hanh's community, in the Plum Village community, and feeling like it was home.
Mm.
And so I'm curious as to what was the basis for the decision to leave the monastic community and to be doing what you're doing now. Yeah, how do you come to be back in the lay world, for want of a
Mm.
better term, uh,
Yeah.
serving in this way?
Mm. It was a long process, uh, as it was a process of asking to ordain. It was a process of leaving, but it was also a journey through stage 4 cancer that was part of it, where it's like I made peace with death might be approaching, and can I be at peace with that? And so much gratitude just flooded me of what I've been able to experience in this lifetime that's been so rich and so, and obviously sadness and sorrow of like, oh, maybe I won't be able to do that again. Maybe I won't be able to do this again. And in that period, it kind of like that surrender also gave me a feeling of, it was a resurrection in a sense when I started healing and I started growing back. I lost a lot of kilos, a lot of energy, and so on. And in that early stage too, actually, I had like visions or images of myself living a different life in Sweden, and Jem came to me and I wrote it down, and so there was like this from not the intellectual knowing but more from the heart song that I call it, my intuition, my inner knowing, that also guided me to becoming a monk, was actually guiding me in a different direction.
Mm,
And it took time for me to listen to that because I was so like committed to the community. I had the responsibilities and stayed at Deer Park Monastery too for 14 years. So it's like it was somehow the timing happened maybe quicker than it would have, because I came to Sweden just at the beginning of COVID to lead a couple of retreats, and so I stayed home because it wasn't time to travel and so on. And that gave me time also on my own to feel and reflect, and being back on my native land, and seeing what is this new life that is given to me, like how I want to live it wholeheartedly. I felt like I can't go back and just continuing being a monk just because I've done it so long and I love it and it's so beautiful. but there's something in me is like, no, I want to commit to something else now.
Mm, thank you so much for sharing that. And I really I hear that sense of an inner knowing and a calling that you've trusted
Mm.
um, in both of those big transitions between your three lives.
Yeah.
Um, and I sense that that's also something that maybe in Insight Leadership we can help or we would like to offer to others is this coming back to our inner knowing and what is already in us to guide us as leaders as well. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because there can be a tendency when we focus too much on the intellectual and we complicate things. So we forget of who we are, what we are. So when we, through embodied mindfulness practice, can we come back to ourselves, to listen to ourselves, we'll be much more capable to listen to the colleagues and the people around us.
Mm,
And when we have a sense of inner direction, we know where we're going, like at least the direction of it. Our values are clear. You could maybe see it as a mission statement or how you phrase it in the company. But like to have that clear, and then we know where we're going. And it's like, it gives energy to what we do too, that we feel like it's actually, we believe this direction. We feel like this value that we're co-creating and putting energy into that is valuable and it's not just for some monetary gain.
mm,
It's something that's also supporting a sustainable life for ourselves and this planet in the long run.
mm,
So then
mm,
there's already insight embedded, then there's already love embedded if we live like that, wherever we are.
mm. Beautiful, and I'm so glad that you brought up the word love because as I sit with you, Jem, I feel that love for life and for um, all that is all that is that's so
Mm.
much more than just our thinking minds but that kind of that knowing and our interconnectedness.
Yeah.
I feel that radiate from you, so it's a real delight to be with you in Insight Leadership. So just before we finish off, I wonder if you have a gem of anything you'd like to share with whoever watches this video, your aspiration or your inspiration for them maybe.
So to take a moment to pause and stop might be the most precious act you do today. And from that place, how do you act when you go out again? And that gives us a blueprint when we stop, like in the moment, and we say, oh, whew, what is pulling and pushing me? And we regain a little bit of sovereignty over ourselves, then it will be easier to start feeling more deeply into what is my direction, what is important to me, not just what, but how. And then that can also help to spark connection with the people around us.
Mm,
Yeah, that's what we initially thrive on too, that we can trust each other and we feel like we can get along and together we do something that's bigger than ourselves. That's a blessing and that's happiness. So
beautiful. Thank you so much, Jem. It's a delight to be in the team with you.
yeah, thanks Heather. I'm learning a lot from you already. So yeah, thanks for this chat.